A lighter pace for day 3 of Broncos training camp, but that doesn't mean we didn't learn anything. Hello everyone and welcome to Denver Broncos Syndicate. If this is your first time tuning in, we are part of a network of channels dedicated to bringing you content about our favorite sports teams. I am your host, Gage Madrid. Before we dive into day 3 of training camp, if you could just do me a favor and hit that like button as well as subscribe and ring the notification bell. We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the beginning of the regular season, and your help really does push this content out to fellow members of Broncos country. The Denver Broncos gathered under the hot Colorado sun for day 3 of training camp at UC Health Training Center. There was a great increase in fan attendance on the first Friday practice of the season, as the final count for today was 3,720 people. Despite the heavy turnout, today's practice was by far the least intense of the 3 held so far. Per Coach Hackett, this is by design. That was kind of a test for me because in order to get through the regular season, you've got to be able to learn how to practice with that jog-through mentality. We went a little bit more than our typical walks at night, so this was truly a test. You saw more players than usual don the league-mandated Guardian helmet caps for an extra layer of protection today. The team operated at about 60% normal pace for today's jog-through. Hackett said that the team practicing at this pace on day 3 was not something that was mandated by the league, but rather something that he learned during his tenure with the Packers. My philosophy has always been, I learned this while I was at Green Bay and thought it was awesome. It's always about that 3-day thing. Day 3 is where all kinds of bad stuff happens. I've acknowledged that after all of my years, and then all of a sudden you see those things happen, so you want to make sure that you can get them fresh so you can go back real hard on that 4th day. Hackett also said that the team responded well to practicing at this pace. We've never done that before with the helmets on. Everybody was nervous about tempo violators. We had a little incident with DJ early. He tried to bat the ball down and stuff, but I'm unbelievably impressed with how locked in they were. We didn't have many mental errors at all, and the guys were able to communicate and talk, which is what you're trying to create in that environment. In today's slowed down practice, the team seemed to focus on offensive install. This is where they can go through the motions of certain plays and go in and correct any of the small mental errors that can soon accumulate into larger errors. Anytime a small error was made, Coach Hackett and offensive coordinator Justin Outen would blow the whistle and make them start the rep over. This is a very welcome sight considering the lack of on-field discipline displayed by last year's team. Since today was mostly about install, there weren't too many highlight reel plays. Wilson did have a couple of good throws today, including a strike up the seam to Alberto for a touchdown, as well as a good throw to Cortland Sutton hitting the honey hole against cover 2. One player that is starting to emerge as a surprise target for Russ is tight end Eric Saubert. With rookie tight end Greg Dulcich being on the PUP list with a hamstring injury, Saubert has made the most of the opportunity. He has netted 2 touchdowns so far in camp, one of them coming on a really sweet throw up the seam from Russ. Saubert showed flashes last season, and this year he is looking to play himself into a more established role in his 2nd year in Denver. On the injury side of things, once again there were no new additions, but one player was activated today, and that was undrafted free agent edge rusher Christopher Allen, who saw his first action of camp today. Another special moment occurred at Broncos camp today. Former defensive lineman Derek Wolfe made his return to UC Health Training Center. Wolfe announced that he signed a 1-day contract to officially retire as a Denver Bronco. Wolfe, of course, was a member of the Super Bowl 50 squad and was the heart and soul of our defense for 8 seasons, dominating opponents next to Von Miller. After departing the Broncos as a free agent in 2020, Wolfe spent the past 2 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, but unfortunately, injuries forced him to sit out all of last season. Even after departing the Broncos, Wolfe said that his roots will always be in Colorado. Wolfe got to walk out onto the practice field and he received a standing ovation from Broncos country. Not gonna lie, that moment had me tear up a bit, as Wolfe was one of my favorite players to ever suit up for the orange and blue, and he said that he also shed a tear or two in that moment. Wolfe said that it was the first time that everything truly hit him since he reached the decision to retire. Thank you for everything you've done for this organization, Wolfie. and welcome home. Tomorrow, the Denver Broncos will be suiting up for the first time this training camp. It will be our first chance to get a real look at the trenches, as those players are really limited in what they can do until the pads come on. We should finally get a good idea of what this running game is going to look like, and also we should finally start seeing some separation amongst the O-line competition. Tomorrow will be the closest thing that we've seen to real football thus far. Remember, tickets are required for entry tomorrow, and if you don't already have your ticket, unfortunately it's too late. If you don't have a ticket, which is the situation that I find myself in, don't fret. After having Sunday off, the Broncos will be back at UC Health Training Center on Monday morning for another full week of open practices. If you haven't already made it out there, I really encourage it if you're in the Denver area. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss when we upload. And while you're at it, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gage Madrid NFL for even more Broncos training camp coverage. And for now, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out and let's ride.